And Pete, over to Southampton, another recently promoted team that is struggling. Russell Martin seemingly has maybe a couple more matches to figure it out, and potentially the international break could be the end of his tenure at Southampton. Who's on that short list to potentially replace him? Is John Eustace?
Yeah, obviously, as I said, Russell Martin is another manager that finds himself under pressure after a slow start to the season. It was a cruel result for them last weekend when they denied that first win after that late equaliser from Ipswich. They've lost 4 of their opening 5 games. Southampton, probably the biggest criticism of Russell Martin is his style of play. He's very sort of headstrong that he won't change his style of football. He wants to play out from the back, and they have been punished on so many occasions already this season in the Premier League. You might have got away with that in the Championship, but against the top players in the Premier League you won't, and you will get punished, and that's what's happened so far as well. So maybe he needs to be a bit more pragmatic in his style of football. Maybe Russell Martin. Again, we're coming around to that next international break in October. That's normally around sacking season. Obviously we haven't had any casualties in the Premier League as yet. There has been casualties elsewhere in the EFL. If Russell Martin doesn't start picking up a few more points in the next few weeks, obviously it's going to lead to further questions over his long-term future. They've got a big game coming up this weekend against Bournemouth, and then they've got Arsenal before the international break, so you wouldn't expect them to get anything from the Arsenal game, but I think it's pretty crucial that they get something from that Bournemouth game. If not, there will be a number of managers ready to step into that job, because Southampton is an attractive job for me. They did spend quite a bit of money in the summer to try and improve the squad, and they did back Russell Martin with a new contract as well in the summer after winning promotion. So I don't think they'll rush into any decision just yet, but John Eustace, who's had a very good start to the season at Blackburn Rovers, is one name that's been touted. As I said, I'm sure there'll be a number of other ones. Graham Potter is an ex-Southampton player as well. He is free and available for work as well, so whether it's a job that might be of interest to him, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think for right now, Southampton, they are behind Russell Martin, but I think if things don't change pretty quickly, he's going to find himself right under the pump as well.
And finally, Paul, with Celtic, we've seen the really successful managers in the Scottish Premiership, get poached by Premier League clubs after a great season. Steven Gerrard recently with Rangers, Ange Postecoglou, of course, with Celtic. How long can Celtic hold on to Brendan Rodgers when he's doing such a good job? He's such a hot name who will always be linked back to the Premier League for a manager job, and seemingly a lot of manager jobs may be open soon.
Yeah, you're always going to get linked when you're a manager that's successful and doing well, and that's what you want at your football club. And a football club like Celtic, the size and the history of that place, that's enough to keep a manager in place itself. Brendan Rodgers has been to the Premier League, not like Ange Postecoglou, not like Steven Gerrard at the time where they got taken away from the Scottish Premier League. Brendan Rodgers is a manager who's been there and done it in the Premier League. He's managed there, he's managed Leicester, he's managed Liverpool, and now he's gone back to Celtic. There's a huge draw for him at the moment at Celtic with the Champions League. What a fantastic result that they had in the Champions League. And the biggest thing for them, they want to get through the group stage, this new format. They've got a great opportunity. I looked at their home draws in the Champions League, looking at their draw now, flipping through my book. Home to Leipzig, it's going to be tough. Home to Club Bruges, the game against Young Boys that they won, and at home to the Bratislavan team. They've got a real opportunity here. We're in uncharted territory with this new Champions League format. Nobody knows what the magic number is. So to finish in that top 8, liken it to the Premier League, to staying in the Premier League, we always talk about these 40 points that you need every year. I can't remember when it was the last time it needed 40 points. I think this year it's going to be about 28, 30 points the way it's going. But like literally mid-30s or whatever. So what I'm comparing it to is the Champions League. You don't know how many points you need for this top 8 or top 16, if you like, to get into that. So I'm looking at Celtic's home games. I think that Celtic's Champions League draw is easier than Rangers' Europa League draw, in all honesty. And I think going back to Brendan Rodgers, he's got an opportunity to make some kind of history there this season with Celtic. Not only with the league, the way that things are going, Rangers look to be falling away a little bit, for want of a better phrase. The gap between Celtic and Rangers seemingly is getting bigger domestically, but actually Brendan Rodgers has got his eye on this Champions League this year, and I think he's got a real opportunity. And while that's going on, I don't think there's any reason at all this season that Brendan Rodgers will be linked away anywhere. And I think if he has a successful season, you might see him extend his contract at the end of the year.